Okay, we're live now.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm very happy to see you guys joining at my very first Tech Talk. So welcome. And today we are going to talk about nonviolent communication and how to communicate without aggression within your team. Of course, the subject is huge. So today we'll have just a glimpse of the topic, and at this moment I would like to recommend you the book about nonviolent communication, because it's quite long, but it's very interesting with a lot of examples. So, but don't worry, today we'll talk about the most important issues. So the plan for today is that first we'll talk about violence itself, and then we'll touch a little bit of the theory, and we'll follow by some advices and examples. So let's get started. And first, I would like to ask you that you would ask yourself a question. Would you be able to recognize violence? Think about it for a few seconds. I'm sure you have some ideas about it, but let's check it out if you would be able to recognize the violence. So first we have the active aggression. I'm sure you all know it. It's raising voice, threatening, emotional terror, shouting, criticizing publicly, but also there are some not obvious violence, like lying or lying off and quitting, or continuously ignoring orders or instructions. So maybe they're not obvious, but there is another type of aggression that it's not even that obvious, and it's quite hidden, but very destructive. And this type of aggression is passive aggression. This passive aggression, it might be blurry for you and not obvious, and you would say, no, it's not true, but it is actually passive aggressive type of communication, like being sarcastic, or giving giving only the safe minimum effort, or hiding behind law or policies or even tradition, or staying silent and looking on the other side. It's very passive aggressive. Or accepting low standards, or refusing to participate. Okay? So therefore, as you know how this aggression may look like, I would like you to ask yourself another question. How do you communicate? And here is a few moments for you so you can ask yourself, do I help people if they ask for help or my expertise? Do I listen to other people as employee or employer? Am I passively sabotaging some initiatives by ignoring them or not helping them to work out? Or maybe do I make early judgments about people and not try to discover their potential? So maybe some of those answers surprised you, or you just found out that sometimes you are also violent in your behavior, or maybe not.
So is being judgmental also being aggressive?
If you are saying out loud, for sure, yes. And if it's hidden, then it's being judgmental can be harmful for you too. Do you understand?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, like I said, we discover now that this aggressive and passive aggressive communication and being passive aggressive really influence us and influence us, especially in our families, but also at work, because we have to say one thing, that there is no such a thing as conflict-free environment. And especially at work. We can't assume that there will be violence or non-conflict at work. And I would like to tell you why it matters. Why it matters that we communicate without aggression at work. Because for sure, we spend a lot of time at work. And especially because we at Pilot, we work remotely. And in our company, words matter even more. I'm sure you understand it, because our workspace, it's online. So it's really important, because we need to understand each other on a daily basis. And because nonviolent communication, it improves our productivity. It also resolves our conflicts, and especially if we would communicate without violence, it would reduce our stress and maximize the potential we have in us. And yet, the last one, it would for sure promote our personal growth, because if you know how to communicate without violence, then you feel power, because this stress and anger goes away. But yeah, we didn't even say what exactly is nonviolent communication. So nonviolent communication is a concept that was discovered in 1960 by Marshall Rosenberg, the American psychologist. And nowadays, there are like hundreds of certified coaches of nonviolent communication around the world, and it's really good technique that applies to areas like relationship, education, and workplace. So nonviolent communication is many times also called compassion communication. Compassion, because this communication focus on what we feel and what we need. You see, most of us have been educated to compete, to judge and demand, to think and communicate in terms of what is right and what is wrong. So we have black and white world that we were rising in. We struggle many times to understand what we want or what we need in the moment, in this particular moment, and how to effectively ask for what we want without using unhealthy demands or threats. How many times you were asking somebody for something and you felt that you need some kind of put a pressure, because in another way it's not possible to get things done. So thinking and communicating this way can create many of misunderstanding and frustration, or simply keep us, from getting what we want. It also can lead to anger and even depression, or many times physical violence or just bad emotions. So to understand how we should communicate and how to communicate non-violence, Rosenberg uses the animals. And this is called the concept of giraffe and jackal. And you have to understand that those are just symbols. They are not characters. But they really show what is violent communication and what is not violent communication. So remember, it's not about people, it's about roles that we are getting into in some situation. So he uses jackal and giraffe because of some reasons. Because giraffe, giraffe is a big animal. It's a big animal with big heart, long leg, long neck, and ears that hear everything. So big heart, long neck, and big ears. Why? Because giraffe with the long neck, she has a good view and clear vision about everything. She can look from the distance at the situation and have a clear vision and a big heart. So the giraffe understands and sees things from distance. And giraffe always stands for compassion communication. Language of giraffe is always unifying, and giraffe has attentive ears. Giraffe sees from distance and hear and feel other people. Giraffe says no when things no, which is very good because she is not lying. She speaks out her heart, and she speaks language of emotion and needs, and say I when talks about herself and himself. Never use the passive aggressive, use we words, like we think. No, she always say I, because she never knows who thinks like she think. She always only talk about her vision, but her vision is from distance. So giraffe, and then we have jackal. Jackal has, as you can see on the picture, big ears too, but they are closed because jackal represent the competition. Jackal use the language of demands. Jackal is this type of role that is always negative, but sometimes it's not only about being negative, it's also about judging, it's about criticizing, analyzing, moralizing, or accusing. Many type of situation. Jackal would use words like you must, you have to, you should, you ought to. And many times when we feel, it's very interesting because sometimes we are role in jackal when jackal speaks to us, because when we feel unfairly treated or accused, we tend to use the language of jackal because this is how we defend. And language of jackal is separating. And okay, so jackal, language of demands. So how can we change our language and not be jackal in that particular moment, and how we should react on conflicts when the conflicts are there? So Rosenberg say that there are 4 steps on nonviolent communication. So when we are imagine in the conflict situation, and we just heard some aggression, first, in this moment, we should observe what's going on. We should observe without judging or blaming or moralistic judgment. We should stay silent, stay calm, and just observe what's going on. Because when we mix remarks with judgment, others tend to perceive this as a criticism and resist what we say. So you should focus on facts. First, observe and focus on facts. You should say, I see, I hear, the situation is. Focus on facts. Observe and focus on facts. Next step is identify the feelings that the situation brings up. Identify and express those feelings, because when we state feelings and we say it in a clear and specific way, we connect more easily with other people. So first, observe the situation and talk about facts and then say what you feel about it. And this is very difficult, but when you observe, you identify the facts and your feelings, then you have to dig deeper and identify what you need, or what needs didn't you meet in this conflict. So you say, I would like, or I need. And the last step is request action. Request action in a nicely way. You should formulate a positive double request. Please, will you, or are you willing to do something? So I know that it sounds maybe unclear, but here I have some examples for you. So here we have jackal and giraffe talking. And as you see, the first sentence is jackal say, he's so rude. This language again is judging, but it's not fact because it's opinion, it's not a fact. So giraffe would say, when I said hello, he looked in another direction. And that language of jackal is accusing, and this is wrong. To say that he is so rude. So stay on facts. The same with the next example. Mr. Abraham is not able to manage his team. This is opinion. Maybe somebody will have different opinion. So let's focus on facts. Fact is that Mr. Abraham has explained the new strategy and has been interrupted several times by different people. But we never know what's behind those interruptions. And we always have our opinion, but opinions are different. So let's focus on facts. Other example. So we have here the situation with manager and employee. Manager is asking employee to stay at 5. Let's say this person works from 9 to 5 and the manager is asking to meet at 5. And how the giraffe would say if the manager would ask, can we meet at 5? An employee says that he planned or she planned to leave at 5 because this person was working late for a few weeks. So giraffe would react like we said that we should react. We react for needs and feelings. We try to understand what is need behind the words. So the manager in the role of giraffe would be concerned about the situation and would ask, how are you feeling? And when employee is in giraffe role, would say about those feelings, but also would say what needs. Because do you remember, first we identify the need, the feeling, and then we say about needs. So the person would say, I feel okay, but say what this person needs. So I need time for my family and friends. But let's imagine typical situation with anger and aggression. So the manager in the jackal words would say, we have all been working very hard and this is an urgent case and can't wait. So as you can imagine, reaction for that word is like jackal, because it's hard to react for aggression without aggression. We are trying to learn this, but it's hard. So we could react in wrong way, meaning very demanding too. And it says it's always urgent. A better schedule would help all of us to be more efficient. So as you can see, it's always no reaction for words. We need to be more into other. We need to be more empathic. So other examples we need in nonviolence communication, we should understand what is the difference between request and demands. So what's the difference between the request and demands? Request means that you are open to accept no as a response. So here you have. Are you willing to help me out? Could you please prepare the figures for the next sales report? So here it's double request, like we said before, that is good to double a request and ask. And here we can say no, because it's asking, it's not demanding. Next. Open and close questions. So in nonviolent communication, we use more one of those questions. But which one? What do you think? Let's see. Example. We have two questions. Will you get your work done this week? Or what do you need to hit your deadline this week? So what do you think? Which one is better? You can say.
The letter.
Which one?
The second one.
The second one. Exactly. Bingo. So why it's better one? Because the first one is closed question, and if we have closed question, it requires yes or no response, and it does nothing to acknowledge your dedication or address your feelings about it. So this is the worst, because you just know that there is a right answer for this question and wrong answer. And you know that the right answer is yes, and no is just the wrong answer. So you are tense, and it's not going to be good if you are asked this question. And the second question, why is better? Because it's open. And because it's open, it does acknowledge the level of effort you are already putting. And actually it offers helps. And it asks for more than one word reply. So it looks for the input. So yes, of course, you still need to meet your deadline. Nothing changed about that, and you have to done your work on time. But now you feel more respected and appreciated as a colleague. So also, when we have conflicts, as you recognize 4 steps of nonviolent communication, here is also another method, AEIOU method. It's a model of managing conflicts. And this model can be used, actually it's used many times in early startups, but it can be used to resolve a variety of conflicts. It can be used for conflicts employee to boss, or colleague to colleague, or co-founder to co-founder, or other conflicts. And it's easy to remember. So we have first letter A. So we have a conflict. And first we have to acknowledge. We have to assume that this person means well. And it's super hard. You have to imagine that when you're in the conflict situation, many times you would think that the other person makes this intentionally. You should not think like this. You should always think that this person means well and has positive intention. Try to understand his or her rationale. And you know what? You should say it out loud. Because saying out loud make it more, it's magic. It works. Because saying that you know that this person is trying to do something good helps, because this person then is not also negative in the situation. So say that you know that this person is trying to do something good, and that you understand what they are doing, what are the intentions. Next one is express what you see. So it's similar to 4 steps before, but here express is affirm the positive intention you have identified and express your own specific concern. So imagine we had a fight with somebody, and then you say, okay, you want to do this and that. I understand you have good intention, but listen, I feel or I think. So many times you are in conflict, or you are mediating a conflict. So in this situation, it's good time to invite everybody in the conflict to clarify their worries or issues. So this is the moment that you say, what's your opinion about it? And next, identify. So here is the moment for solution. What's the outcome you want to achieve? Propose changes you would like to see. You can use the phrase like I would like, and never use I want. Always I would like, because you should try to build consensus by demonstrating your solution, and you want to try the resolves everyone concerns, not only your own. So here's the consensus. And the next step is outcome. So say what is the benefit that you both agree on your solution. What are the advantages of your proposal? You have to know that people much more positively react when they understand the reason. So when the question why, when they understand why, and this will change their action and behavior. You also have to remember about very important thing, which is recognition. In this particular moment, you should say, thanks, I appreciate your flexibility on this. Or maybe you should say, I owe you one. You should show that this is the agreement and you appreciate that this person is okay with that. And the last step is understanding. So here is the step that you ask for feedback. Here in this moment, you should write down the agreement. I mean, here it's not writing down the agreement like in legal way, but you should work together on alternatives. We should work together on the solution. And here in this particular moment, when you show the solution and you agree on this, you should say something like, can we agree to try this for a little while to see if it works for both of us? It's important. Give the other person the option to accept your proposal without admitting defeat, because none of us likes to defeat. And even though it's not a situation win or lose, but many times we feel like this, that in the conflicts there are losers or winners, and we should not think like this, but it's hard. Basically it's hard. So basically when you say that, can we you ask about this another person, can we agree to try this and see if it works for us, it's good for both sides, because it's nobody will lose in this situation. So Here were the steps of how of the nonviolent communication, and I have for you key takeaway that you can use later. And so here's first: avoid static language. Never say that something is good or bad, normal, not normal, correct or incorrect. Don't compare, don't judge, don't say it out loud, don't use the words should, must, or ought. And be nice, don't exaggerate. Also, don't use the words like always, never, and other. Be nice and kind and focus on facts. Switch on the empathy and double check. It's really good, especially at work, when you talk with your team and you are discussing something and the decision is made, for example, by your boss. This person who made decision should ask, so I said this, do everybody is on the same page? Am I correct thinking that the biggest concern is, or just ask people if they understand, but let them say if they understand, let them repeat what you just said. Yeah, exactly. So double check what I hear, what you are saying. And always set clear expectations around the project and objectives. I'll hear what I said before. When giving instruction, ask your colleagues or employees to repeat back what you just said, so you are sure that you are understood. And again, this is one of the most important: give praise generously. People want to feel good what they are doing at work, so praising them, it's always good. And also, it's hard when we work in remote company, but not impossible. Pay close attention to all nonverbal communication. So that's it. Here was the nonviolent communication in a nutshell. Do you have any questions? Okay, I hear silence, and it means that you are not there, or
we are speechless.
okay. Okay, thank you. So here are the book that I recommend and some articles that are interesting, and I was sourcing here. And if you don't have any questions, so thank you. I hope those two methods, that they are easy and to remember, can help you out in the daily conflicts. Thank you.
Carolina, can you upload slides to the Slack?
Yes, of course, of course.
Great, thanks.
I have a question if it's not too late.
Oh, okay. Hi, Dominic.
Hi, Carolina. So my question is, do you have any advice for the receiving end of any feedback, basically anything that can contain or doesn't contain the violent communication? I mean, for example, if you work remotely, how or maybe what should we how should we, what attitude should we have when we read something, not to attribute, any messages to be, for example, violent when they're not violent in the other's mind. To understand what I just said, because it was.
I'm not sure if I understand. So you are asking how we should react for when somebody is violent to us and we are working remotely?
No, I mean just you read a message that, for example, doesn't comply with any of those rules that you just showed us, and you know, for in most cases, this is no, this was not intended, and sometimes when you work remotely, especially, and you deal mostly with text, it's easy to attribute something as violent when it's not. Do you have any advice, you know, how we should proceed from that point on?
Okay, so I believe that being sincere is good. So if in the situation there is some violence, and maybe there is a passive-aggressive violence that you don't even know that you are just, you know, doing, but there is. So is this when this person feels, of course you should talk about it, because in this you say that those rules you can't put in every situation. Actually you can. That's why it's amazing about this theory that you can put in every situation. So just if you are in the situation that somebody tells you something and you feel that this is aggression, but the other person is not doing this intentionally, it doesn't mean it's not violent, because many times this passive aggression is not intentional, but we don't know it. So this is the moment that probably you should have, you know, a few minutes to step back and think about it and observe what just happened, and just look at the facts, and then focus on facts, react with the facts, and later you can talk about it with this person, what happened to you, how you felt in this situation. But first you should focus on facts, and yeah, and take a step back, and after observing, answer with facts.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for the presentation. I have also one question. Not sure if it's easy to answer, but sometimes I feel like people who voice their opinion in a forceful way tend to get a followership, like a following. So they are considered strong leaders, or just very, you know, opinionated managers, and they have strong teams. I mean, that's generally the case, especially in technology. Now, I'm not denying that what they do is non-violent. They are probably main examples when it comes to violent communication. However, I'm not sure, like, how do we reconcile success and being able to efficiently use your time to gather people around you and to commit to one goal, and taking your time to communicate non-violently with possibility of being misunderstood by using all those adjectives? Is there any way to meet those in the middle?
I don't have one answer, because it's a very long question with many things, you know. So first I would like to say that maybe you're right that we perceive many times opinionated people as strong, but we don't see how they feel inside, and many times, like, looking from emotional side, they are very it's very destructive for them, and within those teams you don't know how those people feel. So after some time, maybe they are example and they are going, you know, fast and forward, but maybe after some time, it's, you know, it's physics. If you put a lot of force inside, then those forces, they just start to hit each other, you know. So it's not healthy. It's just not healthy. And but what was exactly the
Yeah, well, the point I was trying to, or the question I was trying to ask is there a way to adhere to the nonviolent communication rules or ideals and yet be efficient and use your time wisely, to not just talk forever about one thing where you actually want to say or state one thing?
But because you imagine that, as I understand, from this presentation, you imagine that speaking non-violent takes time, right?
Well, not necessarily, but I can see a misunderstanding breeding, in a conversation. So, what if a person just doesn't respond to your opinion and it just doesn't want to cooperate in a way that, well, it could be solved quite easily with violent communication, which I'm not recommending here. Just wondering if there are like tricks or whatever.
Okay, so I don't have an answer for this because I feel like the psychologist Rosenberg would help that. But what I feel now is that you just can't do anything, because if you have jackal ears and jackal language, you can just do whatever you can. If you respond with giraffe language, you will know that you are good in the situation. But you can't, heal other people. You can just focus on facts, and when you focus on facts, the situation is win-win situation.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, so thank you very much. I hope it's just a little glimpse of this theory, and you can read the book and see how you can follow advices in your life and in your team. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.